lead in worship and hear from God? Amen? Here we go. All right, let's go ahead and pray. Let's start this thing. Father God, we thank you for tonight. Father God, we thank you for this time that we come together as a youth group, and we come together as a body of believers, God. God, God, we honor this time, and we respect this time that we have with you. And I ask for everybody in this room to respect this time that we have our chance to worship this awesome God that you are, God. God, we thank you for being in our lives. We thank you for having a relationship with us. And tonight, we pray that our relationship grows stronger with you. Our relationship grows deeper with you. I pray that you touch Mr. Jesse as he comes up, and that we hear his word strong, and that we leave this place feeling changed. And we leave this place knowing that we were in the presence of you, the Almighty God, tonight. God, we lift you up and we praise you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Guys, you have a God that is worthy of your praise. Listen to me. I'll say that again. You have a God that is worthy of your praise. He's worthy of your praise. And sometimes you guys got a lot of stuff going on in your mind. And you got a lot going on when you come in here. And it just blocks you from his praise. It blocks you from submitting to him. And my prayer is that we come into this time, that we really take out the blockage that's blocking us from that. And we realize how good of a God he is, and what he's done for us this week, and what he's done for us in our lives. You know, when you look around sometimes, and you look around your school, you see so much less fortunate people that are struggling, and they got so much stuff going on. But you know what they have? They still have the breath of air. Austin. They still have the breath of air. They still have this God blessing them no matter what. That's why he's worthy of our praise, no matter what you're going through. So I encourage you, if you guys are going through something, I know you guys are not comfortable raising your hands. I'm not telling you that. But just pour your love out to him when you're worshiping. Pour it out to him. And let him know how much you love him. Let him know how much you just appreciate who he is. While you're saying that, by tonight, I believe we're going to run one step closer to that. You guys been enjoying these choice series that we do? You guys been enjoying this speaker so far? I really hope you say yes. Okay, so we're going to draw one step closer tonight with Mr. Jesse that comes up. And listen, you guys have been doing a great job by showing our leaders respect when they talk, and I really appreciate that. So I wanted to continue tonight as we hear the word from Jesse and what he has to share with us. Respect this time that he has, and I know you guys are going to enjoy a powerful word from him and a powerful just spirit from Jesse that he's going to give you guys. You guys ready for it? Ready? Give him a round of applause. All right, I'd like to open up with the word of prayer. Jesus, I come before you, Lord. I'm humble, completely inadequate. I admit my inadequacy, Lord, before you, Lord. I depend on you for your spirit to come, Lord. I pray that your spirit would pour through me, Lord, that they would not see me, that they would see you, that your words would come through my mouth, Lord, and not what I would have to say, but what you would have to say, Lord. And I pray that your hearts would be open to accept, Lord, what you would have for them to accept tonight, Lord. I pray this all in your name. So, when I started preparing this, probably about a week ago, I started with a pen and a pad, and I started making notes. I started making like a little outline, and I started making points. And all of a sudden, I continued it into the next day. Then the second day into working on it, Jesus told me, nope, you're not going to make notes. You're not going to make an outline. You're going to go completely based off of what I'm telling you right now and what I'm going to tell you up here. So everything that I'm sharing with you guys today is coming completely raw, coming from the heart, and it is
from him. So if you guys have listened to anything that I've said to you so far, just interpersonally communicating, please listen to this, because I do believe that this is going to be a word from God. And my goal is not to preach to you tonight, right? So my goal is to, he's told me that I'm supposed to share my testimony, is not to preach to you and to share some things that I've learned. And I'm going to allow the Holy Spirit to impact you guys how the Holy Spirit wants you to. Because it's him, not me. So, that being said, in church, like, how many of y'all have grown up in church? Okay, so that's a decent amount of you guys. Sometimes there's churchy lingo that gets thrown around that maybe we don't always understand the right way. Who can tell me, when I say the Holy Spirit, who am I talking about? Like, what am I talking about? Like, it sounds, doesn't that, like, if you take a step back, someone who's not really church, what is that? The Holy Spirit. That's kind of weird. What is that? Anybody? Like, by the way, I'm going to be asking you guys some questions tonight. So this is going to be a participation-led thing. Not a lot, but maybe some as the Spirit leads. Who? Austin. Yeah. Did Austin have his hand up?
We both did. So.
Two answers.
Austin. I wasn't sure which Austin. That Austin? Oh, yes. Holy Spirit. What do I mean when I say Holy Spirit?
It's like the little voice in your head telling you what's right and wrong between
the little voice in your head. That's one way to explain it.
If you ask God something, like you hear it through the Holy Spirit, kind of a little voice in your head. That's kind of how it's the easiest way for me to explain it.
Okay. Brooke. Yes, the Holy Trinity, yes. So, James, you had your hand up.
I'm just kind of going to go in the direction of what I was going to say. It's like one of the three parts of what we talk about is God, with the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Okay. That's a good place to start. Now, also in talking about this, let me say this. There's going to be a lot of, I'm going to be honest, there's going to be a lot of you who don't understand what I'm talking about today. And that's going to be for one of several reasons. One reason could be that you just don't have the information or background. Maybe you didn't grow up in the church, or maybe you have grown up in the church and you just don't really understand kind of what we're talking about. Like I said, Christian lingo can be thrown around a lot of times. But, so that could be one reason. Matter of fact, I just talked to someone last week who told me, he's like, yeah, I'm really interested in God, I believe in God, but at the same time, I just don't have the information. That's totally fine, completely fine. If you don't have the information, And I'm not going to say too much on this, but at the same time, we are working on something that's really cool coming up very soon that's going to help you guys out with understanding the details and the nuts and the bolts on a lot of these things that we're talking about, so that when Robbie comes up here and when our leaders come up here and talk to you about these things, you guys will understand it more fuller way. So I'm really looking forward to that. So that's one reason some of y'all might not understand it. But another reason why is because remember Robbie talked about the different types of soil. So there's the soil that actually grabs it and retains it and puts it to use, the seed, which is the gospel. And then there's the type that receive it and it gets choked out by the thorns. And then straight up there's the seed that falls on the hard place, the Bible says, the rocks. It doesn't even root, it doesn't go down. It's not even one ear out the other. Nope, didn't even hear that because I'm distracted on my phone, because I'm just distracted by the person sitting next to me. So there's going to be y'all who don't even understand what I'm talking about because you're not trying to listen. And then there's also going to be the people who think they understand what I'm talking about up here. And I'm going to talk more about this later because this was the case in my testimony. They understand up here, but it hasn't translated to this. And they'll think they understand what I'm talking about, but it hasn't affected them. Their heart is not open to it. And then there's going to be all who understand it. So, let me ask you guys a question. What would you say about a guy or a girl who grew up, they were a pastor's kid, they went to church every Sunday, they went to church at night, and Wednesday nights, and everything, faithfully. They went to school, they were taught about Jesus, they helped out the youth group, they sang in front of people in the church, all that kind of stuff. Does that sound like a pretty good Christian to you guys? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Pretty good Christian, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. And potentially yes. In my case, I was a pastor's kid. I grew up in church, and I went to church every single week. And and I understood everything up here. But these are the scriptures that the Lord led me to here. There's someone in the Old Testament called Samuel. Have you all ever heard of Samuel before? A prophet in the Old Testament. Yes? No? It's okay if you haven't. So Samuel, he was given the task by God. God gave him the task to look for the king of Israel. So one of the things that he told Samuel while looking for the king, what do you think of when you think of a king? You think of someone that's very, kind of, professional looking and, tall, handsome, strong, good leadership. But God told him something, and he said, don't look at those things when looking for somebody. He said something which I'm going to apply. This applies to several different areas in the Christian life, but I'm going to be applying this to the area of which I'm talking to. It says, man looks on the outward appearance, things that you do, things how you look. God looks on the heart. And that was reiterated by Jesus several times in the New Testament as well. So keep that scripture in mind. God looks on the outward appearance. God looks on the outward, what you do. Man does. God looks at the heart. Okay, so I grew up, like I said, Christian. I did all those things I talked about. I went to a Christian school, sang in front of people at church, all that good stuff. But in keeping with what we're talking about in decisions, I'm going to talk about the choices that I made. I was a middle child, so I felt kind of, how many of y'all are middle children? Okay, so I don't know how it is for you guys, but a lot of times we get the stereotype, which is true for me, that you kind of get caught in between the attention of like the oldest and the youngest, right? So that was the case for me. I was the middle child, and I kind of craved that attention a little bit, so that's what I saw. So I made the decision that I'm going to get really good at something, and I'm going to get attention from people. That was my decision. That was my choice. So I took what I knew how to do, play basketball, and I just practiced night and day, hours a day, and I got really good at basketball. And so then I get to high school, and I'm playing on my team, and what am I looking for? I'm looking for popularity, and this is all why I'm again being a good Christian person. So I'm pretty popular in high school for the school I went to. It wasn't a very big school or anything. So, but I was the team captain, and that's what I was searching for. Now, I would have denied this if you would have asked me at the time, because I knew the right answers. Oh, I'm doing this to please Jesus. Oh, I'm doing this. But in my heart of hearts, again, God knows the heart. That's not what I was doing it for. So I continue to go. I start songwriting. I actually started writing poetry, then I turned into songwriting. So the basketball thing goes away probably around as I go into college, and all of a sudden I get into songwriting, and I'm like, cool, I'm going to write songs for God, but really for my own glory. And so I start to write, record, and all that good stuff. And I do pretty good. As a matter of fact, I won a musical award for an independent artist, and I was actually invited to go to LA for an award show. And I know it wasn't nothing like huge, but for me that was a big deal. So like I'm doing pretty good. But again, the truth that I'm hearing, guys, when I tell you that I was a devotion leader in my dorm room, I led devotions, I helped out in the youth group. When worship was on, I'd raise my hands, I'd get all into it. But I can see this looking back now that there's a difference in my life. It was not connecting to my heart. It was like I was dead. It was like I was dead inside. And again, I didn't realize it at the time, but it was the case. There was no personal connection. Jesus was not personal to me. And so, really the reality of it was for the first 26 years of my life, I wasn't saved. I had grown up in church. I had done all the things I talked about and more that I'm probably not even thinking about right now. Was viewed as a good Christian kid, pastor's son, And a lot of people think that's what makes you a good Christian, and it's not, because he's not interested in that. I'm going to read this passage from Matthew 7:21-22. This is Jesus speaking. This is, in my opinion, the scariest verse in the Bible. Not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but only the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. Many will say to me on that day, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name? In your name driven out demons, in your name performed many miracles? Then I will tell them plainly, I never knew you. Away from me, you evildoers. That was my case. If I would have died in that first 26 years of my life, I would have gone to hell for all of eternity. And I know that for a fact. So, and what, I know there's some misconceptions that can go from what I'm saying. What I'm not saying right now is because I had the wrong motives, because I had this, that, and the other, I wasn't saved. That's not what I'm saying. The point is I never truly accepted in my heart the gospel. I'm going to read another one, Romans 10, verses 9 and 10. This is the gospel right here. This is how you say, well, how do you receive the gospel? This right here. But a lot of people don't look at it in a closer look. If you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with the heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. So, I declared with my mouth when I was 5 years old. I said the prayer. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm gonna have a contest in here, like at some, at any point if you want to come to me. How many of y'all have heard of the sinner's prayer before? Can somebody describe to me what the sinner's prayer is? Anybody? So the sinner's prayer is basically saying, okay, pray this prayer and you'll be saved. And sometimes the Spirit still works through that and it gets a hold of your heart. But I challenge you, I'm going to give $500 to the person who can go and find where the sinner's prayer is mentioned in the Bible. Is it a deal? For real. $500. Alright. So at some point later you guys can come to me. But the reality of it is there's no particular prayer that in and of itself can save you. That's not what it's about. What does this say? It says if you declare with your mouth, okay, that's one, Jesus is Lord, and believe in your heart. I believed up here. I said the prayer when I was 5 and everything. I believed up here. And I could give you details of the Bible backwards and forwards. I went to Bible school for 4 years, graduated with a degree, and I didn't receive his touch. And, I mean, that's scary. I mean, it's not about what you know. It's about up here, it's about what you know and hear. So anyway, there's that side of it. And there's also the side, and there's a lot, guys, there's a lot that I'm not feeling led to share right now. So if you guys have questions or concerns, please talk to me afterwards because there's a lot to it. So there's that side of things. Now that I'm saved, okay, you look at it from a different point of view. Because it can be easy to look like, oh, well, I know I'm saved, that's cool. I'm saved, now I'm just going to live my Christian life, and I'm just kind of going to do what I want, okay? Because remember, it's not the fact that I kind of was self-motivated and wanted to do my own thing that I wasn't saved. I'm not saying that at all. It's the fact that it had not hit my heart. My heart was not transformed. Okay, let me give it to you this way. This is an illustration that might be able to help a little bit. Let's just say that I'm on the, and I heard someone else use this illustration, it came to mind right now. Let's just say that I'm on the job right now, and all of a sudden I hear somebody say to me, Jesse, your mom just died. And I go like, oh, okay, my mom died, all right. Then I continue doing what I'm doing. I don't really have any, particular reaction to what I'm doing. You're going to think one of two things, right? Number one, you're going to think, okay, either he didn't believe me, he didn't actually believe here or here. And the second one is maybe, does he even love his mom at all? Does he care about his mom at all? So what I'm saying is, if the gospel has touched your heart, if what Jesus has done to you has touched your heart, it should make an impact deep within you. And I'm not saying you have to be this super spiritual person, but to some degree it should be making an impact. You should be growing. And I know there's times where you can go back and backslide, but there should be something that makes a difference in your heart, in your life. So, and that was the case for me. There was nothing. I was dead. And it was revealed to me later, actually. And you know what? When I realized that I wasn't saved, it took some major humbling of myself to realize that, you know, because what do you think? You think, well, my first 26 years of my life, all these people thought I was this good pastor, good, you know, preacher's kid, Christian, this, that, and the other. And it took some humbling to realize that I wasn't saved. But, you know, and again, it's not about the exterior. It's not. And that's not what I'm saying on that side either. You know, you can jump around in church and raise your hands all you want. That could be done in the flesh too. It's all the heart, guys. It's the heart. Man looks on the outward appearance. God looks on the heart. And that's what Jesus emphasizes over and over and over. Okay, let me, now for those who are saved, and this is the journey. I've been on an incredible journey the past year and a half. The past year and a half has been so amazing with my walk with Jesus. Like when I talk to people about it, I get so excited because it's made such an impact with me. But I'm going to give you guys a parable that Jesus gave that talks about people who are believers. He is talking about believers here. I'm going to read it through and I'm going to explain it. It says, again, the kingdom of heaven can be illustrated by the story of a man going on a long trip. He called together his servants and he traveled while he was gone. He gave 5 bags of silver to one, 2 bags of silver to another, and 1 bag of silver to the last. Then the servant with 1 bag of silver came and said, Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops, and you didn't plant and gather. Master, I knew you were a harsh man, harvesting crops you didn't plant, and gathering crops you didn't cultivate. I was afraid I would lose your money, so I hid it in the earth. Look, here's your money back. But the master replied, You wicked and lazy servant. If you knew I harvested crops I didn't plant and gathered crops I didn't cultivate, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? Or at least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then he ordered, Take the money from this servant and give it to the one with the 10 bags of silver. To those who use well what they are given, even more will be given, and they will have an abundance. But from those who do nothing, even with what little they have will be taken away. Now throw this useless servant into the outer darkness, where there will be weeping and gnashing of teeth. Okay, that's pretty heavy. Let me break it down a little bit. So basically what he's saying is there's this master who goes on a long trip, and he wants to divide his money for them to make more money for him. So it's like an investment. He wants them to invest it. So he gives 10 bags. He really trusts this guy. He gives him 10 bags right there. And he trusts this guy right here. He gives him 5 bags. But then this guy, he gives 1 bag, okay? So then he comes back from his long trip, and the guy, he just buried the money. He didn't invest it at all. He said, well, I knew you were a harsh man, and I didn't want to mess things up, so I just buried it. This is talking about our talents, and this is also talking about, I believe, our relationship with Him, and those who choose not to walk closely with Jesus. One misconception about this passage, and it's clearly talking about the kingdom of heaven, and he's not talking about unbelievers, he's talking about believers, servants. This outer darkness that he's talking about is not hell. Other passages of Scripture refer to outer darkness in reference to hell, and it is referring to hell. But this is talking about the kingdom of heaven. Everyone thinks somehow that no matter how I live my life for Jesus, when I die, I'm just going to be walking on the same streets of gold, going to have the same interactions with Jesus, going to get all the privileges of those who have blood, sweat, and tears, sacrificing for Jesus, giving all that they have, investing the 10 bags of silver that this talks about, giving everything they had. And here comes this one guy who just buries his talents and, he's expecting to get the same congratulations as he did to that guy. That's not the case. That's not the case at all. And this is another frightening passage as well, because our closeness with Jesus and how we invest the talents that He's given us This is a mirror life, guys. And I don't want to get too deep into the subject because there's a lot to it. And I don't have all that much time. But this is a mirror life for the one in heaven. What we put into our relationship with Jesus is what we're going to get on the other side. Are we going to be one of these people who's thrown into the outer darkness? In other words, far away from Jesus? Or are we going to be one of the ones who's congratulated as close to him? And that's a scary thought. That's a motivating factor, guys.
Amen.
That is a motivating factor. Guys, one of the biggest things in my Christian walk that has exploded my walk is my view of Jesus. Like 100%. A lot of times he's kind of looked at as this guy, this stained glass guy, that you really don't know what to make of him. Yeah, he's there. I know he's looking out for my best interests, but what is my view on him? Like what? When you pray to him, do you picture yourself praying to some distant person? This is a check right now. Do you picture yourself praying to some distant person, or do you picture yourself praying to someone who's right next to you, right by your elbow, someone who's human? Guys, do you guys realize that yes, Jesus is God, but Jesus is human? He has the same emotions that we do. That didn't stop when he was here on the earth. Only his emotions are so much stronger than ours. So when we ignore him, guys, guess how he feels? He feels sad, he feels jealous, he feels all these things, only way more than we do. Think of how you feel when someone, you're with friends and you're trying to, you want to be with them because you love them so much. And it's like a slap in the face when they ignore you, I'm just going to live my life. Guys, that's why the understanding that, and I've received so much help. The minute that I just really decided to start following Jesus and start seeking him, he from all sides brought materials, brought conversations. Jason has been a huge influence in my walk with Jesus the past year and a half, especially. The time that I've been saved, it's been a huge blessing. So conversations, materials have come my way, and my view has exploded. And that's why I have so much to say, but I'm not feeling led right now to say all of it. So guys, if you have questions, please come to me. Come to one of our leaders as well, because there's a lot on the subject. So the view of Jesus is huge. It's just because you believe in Jesus and you say you believe in Jesus, are you believing in the Jesus? Not some harsh person who's going to knock you over the head every time you mess up. Guys, he's loving. He's kind. He wants a relationship. He wants to sit in that chair right next to you right now. He wants you to invite him in every single thing, guys. Watching a movie, playing video games, guys. If people look at this as something that, this is frivolous, he's not going to be interested in that. No, he wants to be with you. He sacrificed his life. He died and rose again. Lord, he went through unspeakable torment to know you so you can know him better, to experience his love. Guys, almost every morning as I'm going from my house to my job, and I'm playing worship music and talking to Jesus. Guys, I've had so many conversations with Jesus where I've heard him. Sometimes, occasionally, he'll even show me something, like visually. It's so cool. I joke around with him. I talk to him about what I'm feeling. I talk to him about, and not that I've perfected that yet, because there's times when I forget, and there's times when I do kind of leave him out in the cold. And I'm not perfect on that. I'm still growing. He's still taking care of stuff in my life. Just because you do know Jesus doesn't mean you're perfect. And you'll never reach perfection, but he wants to take you on a journey. And he wants to be with you right there constantly. So, all this to say, just do, and the Bible says it's good to examine whether you're in the faith. That's in Scripture. Just view your relationship with Jesus. What does it look like? Be honest with yourself. Take a look under the hood. Figuratively, obviously. But take a look. Are you inviting him into these little things? Are you communicating with him? Or is it just, I believe in Jesus. I believe in Jesus. I'm going to just go live my life here. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. Well, I'm going to fit Jesus where I want to in my little boxes here. No. He's so much bigger than your little box. And he wants to explode from your bigger box. But you know what? It's like Robbie's been talking about. It takes you getting uncomfortable. It takes you maybe getting up earlier to spend time with Jesus, to just listen. Stop. Take out your headphones. Take the phone out of your face. What does Jesus want to say to you? Stop and listen. Stop and listen in the quiet. And it's just been such a blessing for me in this walk. And I'd love to share more with you guys, but I feel like this is where the Spirit is telling me to stop and just let this sit with you guys. Because this is my story. I'm not preaching to you guys. Again, I'm telling my testimony, and I'm letting the Spirit have it sit where it may in you guys' heart. But it's something I'm very passionate about. I love talking about Jesus. So, like I said before, if you guys have questions, concerns, please talk to me. I love talking about it. So, I'm going to close in a word of prayer. That's all I feel led to share at this point. Then maybe the worship team can come up. Jesus, thank you so much for saving me. Thank you for waiting 26 years of me with my stubborn, rebellious self who wanted to do what I wanted to do, who wanted to get all credit, who wanted to do this, that, and the other in my own strength, Lord, in the old nature, Lord. I thank you so much for your patience. I thank you so much for your love, Lord. It's so much bigger than what I can even talk about. It's sometimes difficult to put it into words, Lord, the love that you make me feel, the joy and the happiness, Lord, it brings me to tears. And I just want to dedicate this, Lord. I pray that your Spirit will go out and it will touch these kids, Lord, and lead these kids in any direction that you're leading, Lord. Please feel open in this place to work how you want to work and not how we want to put you in our little box to work. We pray this in Jesus' name, amen.
Father God, I thank you so much for this time we had tonight. God, I thank you for using my brother Jesse in a mighty way. I thank you for touching our hearts tonight. My heart was touched tonight, God. And I know that I'm one step better being changed and closer to you tonight, God. God, as we leave this room and as we leave this group tonight, I pray that we receive this word of examine ourselves. And we receive this word on a daily basis that we should be examining ourselves. Is our relationship with you what we really should have it be? Or is it what we want it to be? God, we want to grow closer to you. And we want to be closer to you, God. And we ask that your love just pours all over us. That your grace pours over us. When we don't think we're worthy of forgiveness, and when we think our shame has gotten too much, that God, your grace will pour over us. God, your love will pour over us. And you will alone know to us that we are a child of God. God, I praise you tonight. I thank you for everything you've done for us. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. Good job, Dad. All right. All right. 7:55. You guys ready to get out here or what? Yeah. It's over, right? Relief or what?
Don't we have an announcement?
Oh, we got an announcement?
No.
Who said we had an announcement?
Instagram.
Instagram.
What you know what you said?
We're interested.
Oh, I got you. Big announcement. Okay. Woo! Oh, yeah. Listen, pretty cool trip. you guys got any questions about it, more information on it, we got a paper up here that we're going to send you guys home with to pray about it, to pray how God will provide for you, pray how God will let you go. It means a lot to me to do something like this for you guys. It means a lot for me to take you guys to a place like this that God is so powerful and God is so almighty in what He does. And I know it's things like this that can save you. I was literally saved in a conference and a convention like this, and you can get saved in different ways. But it was very powerful. And I encourage you to do everything that you can possibly do to go on this trip. It's in June. We have a deadline, a deposit deadline of $65, which covers the conference. That's the only thing that I gotta take care of here quickly. It's $65. That's gonna be March the 11th, and it will be a deposit that you'll pay by then, and then the rest you'll see on your paper when you gotta pay. Guys, I found great deals on everything for this trip. You see, we're staying in a Hilton Garden Hotel. Really? Oh, snap! I mean, it's a really, really fancy hotel. That God got us really cheap.
That was a good guy.
God got us deals on the hotel. God got us deals on Six Flags. Listen here, just real quick. Six Flags would normally cost somebody $80 plus food, so $100 for the day. Well, as part of this price, I ended up getting it for $48. Okay? So listen to me. God worked a lot in this trip to make it to where we could go and you guys could be able to go. So I want you to really work on it, think about it. You got some time to do, but March the 11th is coming here in another month. So we'll be having some meetings with your parents. We'll be having some talks with that. You're going to see this on Instagram. You're going to see it played this Sunday in church so that your parents can see it. Are you guys excited about this?
Woo!
Listen, I told you that God's just doing some different things. And God's just doing a lot of different things. And God's going to show us a lot of different things. And what God keeps telling me is to show you, telling me to show you how big He is. And there's different ways that I can, as a leader, show you that. This is one way. I'm telling you, when you get there, and then you get in this conference, and you're with 15,000 other youth, and you're in the praises of God is going up in that place, it's going to hit you right here. It really is. And then, my hope is that you just let God do what He's going to do in your life. Okay? We kind of ended there with a video, and I know some of you guys might be in the middle of this, examining yourself in this decision, and I don't want to affect that too much. So, if you guys have any questions or want to come talk to us leaders right now, as everybody leaves, you guys know we're wide open for that. We're here for you and everything. Okay? So, please get that off of your chest. What God is doing with you in your life. Does anybody have any questions about this in front of everybody? Yes.
How do we get down the mountain?
Walk down.
Are you sleeping? You hike up and then you hike back down. Has anybody ever been to Six Flags before? I've been to the Six Flags over Georgia before. Alright, so, got papers? Oh, starting to hand them out? Okay, got the back door there. Alright, guys. Next Wednesday night. Be there Sunday for the video so we can talk about it with the church, alright?
When they leave.
Oh, when they leave.
Sure enough.
Okay.